This is Emrys and Luthien, and welcome to Girls with Sabers.
Again, our knight in shining armor.
Mm-hmm.
Our knight in shining armor. And we talked about the difference between a chivalric knight and a master like Snoke, who has no care who Rey is or who Ben is or anybody, but there is a care to Kylo Ren. Even when he's Kylo Ren, he cares. He's sensitive.
Yep.
He has a conscience, which it still cannot be eradicated from him. And you see this even with his dealing of Finn.
Yes.
You see him using a, let's take this outside, which again is very much like a gentleman did. When a gentleman insults you, they lay down the gauntlet. They lay down the glove, and they're like, we're going to take this outside. We're going to do a duel.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how Kylo treats Finn. He could have killed him, but he didn't. He delayed his hand. He taught Finn a lesson, and then it was over. With Rey, it's different. With Rey, he is fighting to train her, to show her that he could teach her. And there's that whole gentleness there. It reminds me again of like the old-fashioned gentleman that people accuse Kylo Ren of being a weakling or not powerful enough because he let a girl beat him. And that just, again, boggles my mind, because when did being a gentleman and going easier on a woman out of respect for that woman, not out of patronizing her, but out of respect, was completely forgotten by a generation? Like, I remember there's a scene in Batman Returns in like 1989 where Catwoman is fighting Batman, and he's fighting her off as like a defensive, not coming towards her. And she falls down, and she says, like, how dare you? I'm a woman. And he offers her his hand during the middle of a fight. He says, I'm sorry. And then she uses his hand against him. Mm-hmm. That used to be the norm. That used to be the way that men and women conducted in a fight. Now, of course, I am all for a Wonder Woman and a woman who can kick butt. Like, yeah, bring it on. Do I think a man and a woman can fight in full-on combat? Yes, I can. But again, it's the context and the conduct of a knight to treat a lady better than a man. And that's exactly what Kylo Ren did. And Ben Solo.
Yes. As a real-life example, after 13 and a half years, my husband still gets the car door for me, or any door for that matter, and gets upset if I get it for myself. And not to, I mean, yeah, can I open my own door? Sure. I have opposable thumbs and I can make my own choices. He does that, and I know he respects me. And there are times where, yeah, I get my own door, and that's fine, but 9 times out of 10, he opens the door for me. And that's comforting. The day he stops doing that will be the day he stops respecting me. And it's the little things. In episode 9, we're going to see a lot of little things that Ben Solo is going to start doing, and they're going to add up for Rey. And they might not be seen, like, outright, but probably on the first viewing, because we're all just going to be like deers in headlights, because we're like, oh my freaking god, it's episode 9, and my popcorn's going to be gone even before. My popcorn's going to be gone before the opening crawl. I mean, freaking A. I'm going to be like just eating my feelings. So, but we're going to see probably a lot of little things, a lot of subtle things that we're not going to pick up on probably until our second or third viewing, like, oh my freaking god. Like, JJ's a genius. And you're either going to, like, eat it right out of the palm of JJ's hand, or you're going to hate it, or you're not even going to see it. Whatever. He's going to do a lot of little things.
Because it goes right back to what was one of the concept arts for Kylo Ren.
Yep.
A knight in shining armor. Again, that is that is a knight of light.
Any storyboards, why would they make him such a figure like that if that wasn't the end result here?
Yeah.
You know?
And how we know, if you look at Kylo's fighting style with Rey, his fighting style is very wide. Like, he makes the 1, 2, 3, and 4s, which are fighting positions, very, like, on the outer rim of her body.
Yep.
And that's something that you do when you do not want to kill someone. You're training that person. There's very few times where he does eccentric, like a 6 or something, where you do eccentric movement to hurt someone. And usually that is just to do an offensive to block her. But he says in the novel, I don't want to kill you. And he said that in the movie, not audibly, but if you look at the scene right when he corners her off of that cliff, JJ muted it.
Yeah.
But you can see him mouth the words, I don't want to kill you.
Yeah. Because if he wanted to kill her, he could have done it already. And him force throwing her against the tree to get her out of the way was just that. It was to get her out of the way. He's like, I need to knock her out because I need to handle Finn, but, I don't want to kill her, so I'm just going to, throw her against this tree also to show Finn my force power. So she was technically an object in that moment of force power, but, he knew what he was doing. It was like, okay, you're a little bit annoying right now. I need to get rid of you for the moment, and I need to concentrate on Finn because this dude just got away again.
And she also really deeply hurt him at that moment.
Yes.
Because she called him a monster.
Yes.
I don't remember anything that they refer about past events to each other in The Last Jedi, except for the statement of, you had that look in your eye, just like you did when you called me a monster.
In the forest. Yeah.
Yes.
She saw him kill Han, who is now this almost father figure now for her, because that's what she's searching for. But that's what she's mostly pissed about. It's like, why did you do it? Why did you kill Han? He's not like, why did you throw me against the tree? Why did you mind probe me? Why did you do this? Why did you do that to me? No. That's in, literally, let the past die. She let that die. That's not a big focus. I don't think she
gave it a second thought.
I wouldn't have. I'd have been like, man, I know why you did it. It's war. I get it. Let's go have some hot chocolate. So, because it's cold. It's freaking freezing on Starkiller base. Anyway.
That's the battlefield.
Oh, you want to train me? Done. Done deal. Tell me how you get that, swoop in your hair curl, and, we'll train. Yeah.
First time I saw Force Awakens, I was like, say yes, Rey!
Yeah. Yes. It's like, joke's on us, it's not a trilogy. It's not a trilogy, guys. It's done. It's done after this. She went with him. She's going to train. Fine. Done. But he got her out of the way. Plus, he was upset with her. But she's not upset about that. So, if she's not upset about it, you don't have to be upset about it. Okay?
Well,
everyone needs to listen to Kylo Ren and let the freaking past die.
Well, I think die doesn't have a control over you and everything that you think, So, but I trust J.J. Abrams. Of course, there's going to be people who don't care what's in front of them as the facts of the story and still rail against it. But I think there's going to be a group of people who are going to come in being anti-Reylo, anti-Kylo Ren, anti-Redemption, and they're going to sit in their seat in Episode 9, and it's going to be on the screen, and they're going to be like, why didn't I see this in the first place? Why didn't I see Ben Solo as a hero? Why did I not see him as redeemable? Why did I think he was a wimp when he's so incredibly powerful? And why did I not see that these two people belong to each other? I think if J.J. Abrams does his job, and I have complete faith in him, I think that's going to happen. Come to Reylo experience. Come to the light moment. That's going to be Episode 9. For people, the blinder's going to be off. Just like people are going to come out, they came out of the theater and returned the Jedi and said, how did I not see Vader could be forgiven? I wasn't expecting that at all.
You guys, I have, not only do I have faith in JJ, I have faith in my Reylo twin. Why? Because even if the means aren't exactly what we said, the end result's still going to be the same. It's still going to be the same.
There's too much metaphor and symbolism for not to happen. Like, why would there be cut out crosses and great? We're talking about knights, and of course, one of my favorite knights of all time, and we're only going to touch on this subject, but is one of the Dark Knight, which is Batman. And if you don't know, Batman is not only a knight, but he's also a Byronic hero, which is in the same category as Darcy. Where have you heard that word before?
We talk about Pride and Prejudice.
The dark characteristics that you don't think is going to be a person of hero that will come up and be the person that everyone sees as the good guy of the story, but it was there all along. Just like Batman is the Dark Knight that waits in shadows, not do evil towards Gotham, but to save Gotham. And the reason I say this is look at the aesthetics of Kylo Ren's ships. Look at his Batman type.
TIE silencer. Yep.
Is in the shape of the bat signal. You have the shuttle, which literally has a bat wings on it. It looks like a bat. So they're very much referencing that vigilante type, brooding, Byronic hero, Dark Knight. I think that's all we need to say about that. So I have
one thing to add.
Okay.
He has a cape. He's a freaking superhero, you guys. He's got a freaking cape.
A black cape.
A black cape. And when he talks through that mask, he's all dark and Batman. I mean, come on. Freaking Batman.
He's so freaking Batman. I mean, like, even then, Batman treated the women differently. He used to.
Yeah.
He doesn't anymore.
Huh.
But he used to.
Although Ben Solo is the opposite of Bruce Wayne.
Oh my gosh, does he have... But again, it's that rich person.
Yes. Yep.
Whose family has abandoned them. Mm-hmm. Or family died.
Yep.
And they're lost in contemplation and ruin, and of course they do something, or something intervenes in their life that wakes them up to being a hero and to actually save the country or the city that they live in. So much of a Batman type story. Another Byronic hero that we've talked about on Girls with Sabers and that we absolutely love, and that is Darcy. So the reason that we're working Darcy into this is we're talking about gentlemanly behavior. And of course, in the Regency period, there was that still knightly understanding of being chivalric to a woman. That a man is supposed to be a gentleman at all times. And but there's also a social political undertone in all of Jane Austen's novels. We think that Jane Austen is this big romantic writer, and she is, but she always sets romance in a way of commenting about the politics of the time, especially within the genders. And with Darcy's case, it's about a man who is an aristocrat and a female who is not at his level. Yes, she's a gentleman's daughter, but she does not have mansions and carriages and barouches and things of that nature that he has, and the privilege. In fact, he tells her that, her family is decidedly below his own. Mm-hmm. Does that sound familiar?
Kind of sounds like Star Wars, the sequel trilogy.
It sounds like The Last Jedi proposal. And that's why we're touching on this, is because a lot of other people say, well, he also, what he said to her in the proposal scene is also abusive. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about how the proposal scene was actually not abusive and why. There is something called projection psychology, where what you are feeling and what you are sensing and what you're thinking about yourself is what you project upon another person. So this comes from two sources that we found. Psychological projection is a theory in psychology in which humans defend themselves against their own unconscious impulses are qualities, both positive and negative, by denying their existence in themselves while attributing them to others. The theory of projection was first coined by Sigmund Freud. Friendly reminder that Ren is an abuse victim. Reminder that abuse victims are often constantly emotionally degenerated to make them feel worthless and powerless. We see Snoke do this exact same thing to Rey. When he says, "You're nothing but not to me," what he is actually saying is, "I am nothing but not to you."
Please tell me I am something to you.
Yep.
Amen. Kudos to this Reddit user.
And when he says, "No, you're still holding on, let go," when Kylo begins to realize that Rey is going to reject his proposal to rule together and bring a new order to the galaxy, Kylo starts to lose his shit.
Yep.
He admonishes Rey for holding onto her ideologies and being unable to let go of it. However, it is Kylo himself who is holding on to his anger and hurt. He needs to embrace both the light and the dark of himself. He's still holding on to the Kylo Ren persona and the power that comes with it. Another thing that you can say, grammatically speaking, is the word "not" is something we call in grammar the negator, which means everything said previously is completely negated. So everything that he talks about with
meaning
Rey
it's canceled out.
It's canceled out.
Yep.
Like there's a big X. Meaning, just like this person who is using the projection theory she's saying the exact same thing. You are nothing but not to me, which means you are everything to me, Rey. That's what he's actually saying. And that's exactly what Darcy is saying. Darcy sounds like an utter horrible man during that first proposal. But what he is doing is he's being an analytical gentleman from the social political idea of that day, where you marry your equal. You don't marry someone below you. You have to keep up the class system. So he's telling her, I am ardently in love with you, and to prove that to you, here is every single reason why I shouldn't be in love with you, but I still am, so please marry me.
Yeah. He's like, I'm willing to put that all aside and ask you to be my wife.
And Elizabeth is so upset with all of the accusations of, your family is embarrassing to me, your father, your sister, your mother, they've all done something that utterly embarrasses me. All she hears is the constant knocks that he does to her family, to her sister, etc., etc., etc. And well, she should. And well, should Rey. I mean, what he says to Rey is very upsetting. But he does not mean exactly what he is saying. His words are very manipulative, just like Darcy's words are manipulative, because instead of just saying what is on his heart, "I love you, marry me," that's exactly what he just needs to say. He doesn't need to say anything else. He is using the debate method to win and persuade her to accept his hand.
Well, and they're both socially awkward. I mean,
Yeah.
You watch Darcy, you look at Darcy through the whole entire Pride and Prejudice. It's like he's a wallflower. He talks to people he knows. He doesn't really socialize. He is shy in that regard. He doesn't know anybody. He's only doing this because Bingley's his friend. And then you look at Kylo. It's like totally socially awkward. The parallel between Darcy and Kylo Ren / Ben Solo is insane. Insane. And that all stems back to the fact that the script that was given out for the auditions of Force Awakens was freaking Pride and Prejudice. Hello. That's everyone's that's JJ going, that's what I'm doing.
And that's exactly why so many people who've only studied the Monomyth do not get this new trilogy.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm going to lay that down. That's offensive to you.
Girl.
I'm so sorry.
Lay the smackers down, because that's what girls with sabers is cooking.
Monomyth is not the end of English literature or world literature in general. If you study Joseph Campbell, hats off to you, my friend. That is awesome. And I mean that to the bottom of my geek heart. But it's not the end of literature.
Yeah.
You need to have a full classical education. There's also Jane Austen out there, which people are like, Jane Austen's just a romantic drama. No, my friend. Do you know where Jane Austen's writing desk is? Jane Austen's writing desk is in the same room as the Magna Carta in the British Museum.
Yeah.
Why is that significant? Because the Magna Carta is one of the most important political documents in the history of the world. That's how important Jane Austen is to our political understanding of romance.
Preach it.
But class should not dictate it.
Preach it, twin.
Your birth origin should not dictate it. What should dictate it is your character and your person and all that. And that's the lesson that both Darcy and Elizabeth learn, is that she was blinded by prejudice and he was blinded by pride. And she had to speak those horrible words to him that, had you behaved in a more gentlemanlike manner, had you behaved like a code of knights should have, I would have probably accepted you. But you didn't. So I'm going to leave you empty-handed. Haha, do you see where I did there?
Yeah, I sure did.
So he goes back. He reflects. He goes, oh my goodness, Elizabeth just blew my mind, and I'm not the gentleman I thought I was. So I'm going to prove to her that I'm a good guy. What can I do? I'll save her and her entire family.
Oh!
Boom.
That's something else we talked about.
If you think the proposal scene is abuse, okay? If you do, it's manipulative, but it's not abuse. If you think it's abuse, number one, you don't understand grammar and the Great Negator. Mm-hmm. Number two, you've never read Pride and Prejudice. And number three, you are just saying to a whole group of people that arguably the most romantic character of all time, Fitzwilliam Darcy, Esquire Gentleman, is an abuser to Elizabeth Bennet. And if you do, I tell you the truth. Janies will hunt you down.
Oh, yeah. Like, the people who follow Jane Austen, Jane Austenites, whatever you want to call them, oh my God, are they the real deal? I mean, we're talking about people who get together in a room and leave a chair open for Jane Austen and toast Jane Austen. Like, they have a place setting for her and everything. I mean, these people are legit, and they will hunt you down. And then they will strike you. First, they will bite their thumb at you. Then they will take off their glove. And then they will strike you across the face. And then they will duel you. And then they will win. Okay?
Janies are smart people.
Individuals.
Seriously, I promise you, Monomyth is not all of literature. You need to go out and you need to explore. Again, people are saying, well, the traitor in Joseph Campbell always comes to death because he turned his back on blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, obviously you haven't read Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And obviously you have not heard of the romance in Shakespeare, which suddenly in the very end, this guy goes down, down, down into the pit of despair and disillusionment, and all of a sudden, a divine ray of light lifts him up to grace, and all of a sudden he gets what he doesn't deserve, which is mercy. Mm-hmm. Which is what mercy means, is merit unearned. Guys, this story is a romance. And no, romance does not necessarily mean I kiss you, you kiss me, let's get married. Romance comes from the word Roman, which means all roads lead to Rome, which means an adventure. An adventure across the time, galaxy, roads, countries. It's an adventure. And in Roman adventure and the quest of medieval romance, it's always about the refinement of character. And that's exactly what the road of Ben Solo is to get him back, resurrect him from Kylo Ren, and it took a spark to ignite that heart, and he will resurrect, and he will refine his character and be Ben Solo, and a better Ben Solo after all. The end.
Here. I just want to say that I had a long day at work. and I am laying back in my couch recliner, and I'm sipping my tea. And that was the most enjoyable rant I have ever freaking heard in my freaking life. So I hope you all freaking enjoyed that. Why do you think we're so passionate? Think we're passionate about this? Like, JJ could totally do us a 180 and go down a really weird road, but the end game is still the end game, okay? It's still, Reylo is happening, whether you like it or not, whether you love it or hate it. Redemption is happening, okay? It's also freaking Disney!
Do you think Disney would just say, oh, let's kill every Skywalker and Solo off? Let's just let that family die in utter hopelessness. Do you think that is really how we should end the Skywalker saga? With let's just kill off the remaining person in that family and show that family no consideration? Let's kill off the child of Han and Leia.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he deserves death, so let's just give him death. I'm sorry, but as Obi-Wan Kenobi said, I just heard a million voices crying out across the galaxy. If that happens, that's not going to happen that way. And if it does, it shouldn't. Because Star Wars is about hope. Chivalry is dead in many ways, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have to remain dead. It can be resurrected. And maybe Ben Solo is that angsty teenage boy out there that doesn't understand that in order to win a fair lady's hand, he has to get up and act like a man, act like a gentleman.
What I think at the end of The Last Jedi, the last scene we see Kylo Ren in is Kylo Ren died.
Yeah, and he caved in. If you watch his shoulders, it's like something collapsed in him. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he's kneeling, and you see him holding the hologram dice. And then when they disappear, he tightens his fist. I think that's for a reason, where he probably solidified in his mind, I know what I have to do. And he kept his head down. But it was almost probably like a prayer to himself, like, I know what I have, like how he said in the throne room to Rey, I know what I have to do.
Hello, this is Emrys, and with Luthien, thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and click on that little bell icon that will give you notifications every time we post a new one. And of course, like, comment, and do all those things. Peace, love, and